Hello everyone, it's Andrew from TCG, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about how to find high value bulk from people and so that you don't get burned when looking for bulk on platforms like Facebook groups or Facebook Marketplace, because most times when you're making a post saying you're buying bulk, especially if you're at a good rate and you're not way below what's competitive, you're going to be swarmed with a lot of people reaching out to you looking to off-sell a lot of their bulk. And there are many ways to prevent yourself from getting into those deals and also just look for the better bulk without having to waste time getting some bad bulk in and then processing it just to make a very tiny amount of profit. And instead you could be doing the same amount of work but making a huge amount more profit. Because the way bulk works is, sure, you could profit off all of it, but the scale at which you profit is largely dependent on the bulk you get. So if I buy bulk from a store, I can get a huge amount of bulk in, and sure, I might be able to profit if I'm doing bulk lots with it, but I'm not going to make profit on them as singles because it's already been sifted, or it's most likely already been sifted through. You're not going to find playable cards in there that you could sell for $1 or $2 or even higher, and it's all going to be stuff below 25-cent market price because that's usually what people sift out. Especially if they have a card sorting machine, the chances of you getting good bulk from those types of people or sellers is very, very small. And an easy way to tell if someone is a store or they know what they're doing is if they reach out to you and they're like, one key sign to look for is if they say, how much bulk are you willing to take? And what that means is they're trying to get a feel for what your budget is, and also how much they would be able to just dump onto you at a time and act like they're doing you a favor. Because when they're saying how much bulk are you willing to take, this is because a lot of times some people will reach out to me and be like, I have 2 million Magic cards. Will you buy? Like, how much will you buy? And obviously when I see that number, I know instantly, like, they're just trying to dump off some trash bulk that doesn't sell and hoping that I just take as much as possible. And then if they're a little bit like smarter, that's not the right word, but like they want to play that right, they will ask you what your budget is and how much you need so that it looks like they're trying to help you fulfill that number rather than just saying I have all of this that I'm trying to dump and get rid of. It sounds more valuable if they're doing it in that other way. It applies for everything too. If I say like I have 100 cards of this one promo, will you buy it? It sounds less appealing than if someone were to say like I need 10 copies of this card, and then you come in and say, oh, I have 10 copies, I'll sell it to you. So that's one thing. And if they're doing that, just try to be aware of it and not fall for it and think that they're going to sell you some good bulk. And I should have mentioned this earlier, or like more detail into it, but it was kind of what I was talking about earlier with like you can profit off all bulk, but the scale at which you profit matters. And some people, like, this won't apply to you because if you sell every single bulk that you buy, the more inventory you can get, the more sales you can make, and you will most likely have a system to kind of all that. But I'm talking about in the system where you buy bulk strictly to pull out the cards that are worth like cents and up, and then you sell those and then you bulk out the rest of it, because that's what I do. And in terms of like a time value, it makes the most sense because I don't have the time to just go in and 8 hours a day sifting out thousands of cards to make 10-cent profit on a card. And I know it works for some people, but I don't have the time to do that. So the process that I do and the system I have is I get bulk in, take out the valuable cards, bulk, and then do bulk lots with the rest of it. But I'm not doing like every single card from that bulk. It's just too much effort, too much time, not enough return. So yeah, I just want to make that be known so that if you have a different system, it makes sense to you and it doesn't sound completely wrong. But back to the main part. The next thing to look out for is just like if someone is selling you only commons and uncommons, that usually means they have a way to sell their cards so that they're not including any higher value stuff in there. And this can also be applied to reverse hollows, but If it's strictly commons and uncommons, that usually means it's trash bulk. And I'm saying trash because it's value in that. And it's not actual trash. But if they are selling you stuff and it's have 20,000 commons and uncommons, but nothing else, that means they have either sold off all the good stuff and they have a method to like get rid of it, or they're a rip and shipper and they only have commons and uncommons. And typically, I'm not saying this is a 100% foolproof method, but typically when that's the case, that bulk has already been sifted through. There's nothing valuable in there because they usually know what they're doing. And people selling common, uncommon bulk are typically doing so just to get rid of it, and they don't have any way to sell it besides just dumping it all. So look out for that. And then just as like you look at it and think about it, you don't want just commons and uncommons for your bulk. Like I know for Pokemon, commons and uncommons are actually more valuable than rare cards, which is weird because typically like the commons and uncommons or actually not even that, just uncommons, like trainer cards is where the value is. And I know it sounds like, why wouldn't you want those cards if you are trying to make a profit? But it's just the way it happens. But if they don't have reverse hollows or they don't have any EX cards in there, it's a lot harder to make a profit from. And usually those reverse hollows and EX cards are where you can make a ton of money on flipping the bulk as singles. Because commons and uncommons, there's so much quantity available that in order to compete, you have to be selling your cards for like a penny on TCG Player. And I know that that's just not possible. And if you want to go the eBay route, which is what I do, I don't even think it's possible to sell commons and uncommons at like $1. And I've never tested it out because, again, the time to money ratio, it just doesn't make sense for my store. So I've never tested it out. I've only ever tested the reverse hollow listings, and I do it like $3 with free shipping. And yeah, it doesn't sell like, but I get a few sales a day at that price, and I'm pretty happy with it. And again, it's not like I'm doing it as the main source of income, but it's just a good way to like liquidate my bulk cards. And again, it's only possible through TCG Automate, but because like to list that many cards is very time consuming, but with TCG Automate, it's just a lot faster. And that's just how that is. But yeah, it's a little tangent, but back to the main thing. If someone is only trying to sell you very low value rarity bulk, it usually means that it's not good stuff in there. And I know some people in here, or like a lot of the viewers play or buy and sell Magic cards, and I'm not an expert, but I'm pretty sure with Magic, commons and uncommons are like the junk of the bulk, and there's typically no value in there. So if someone's coming to you only selling that, again, it just means that it's already been sifted through and there's really nothing of value in there. So just try to be aware of that. And another thing is not really something that like it's bad bulk, but if someone says to you that their bulk is not meaning like energy cards and the code cards are in there, do not offer them the same rates you would for like uncommons. And they try to kind of sell in and say, oh, the rares are still in there though, so can you do the normal rate? And do not feel pressure to kind of up on your prices if it's unsorted bulk, because most times it's already been sifted through and they were just too lazy to like cut the code cards and energies. So they just have all this bulk piled up and there's nothing of value in there. And then you have to go in and spend extra time taking out the energies, taking out the code cards, and all that time and effort you're going to put into that is simply not worth it. So don't feel pressured to pay a higher rate. And what I typically do is like, I know these numbers are going to fluctuate, but right now the current market price I'm paying is $12 per 1,000. And if someone comes to me with unsorted bulk, I will offer them like per 1,000, because if you think about it, every pack of cards, I think it's like what, 10 cards or 11 cards, there's an energy and then there's a code card. So that means around 20% of that bulk will be junk that you literally cannot sell for more than a penny, if that. So what that means is you have to offer them even further than 20% below your rate, because you then have to go in and take it out Like you have to take the cards out, which takes a huge amount of time just manually doing it. So if someone comes to you with unsorted bulk, either stay away from it because it's just a huge time waste and there's so much bulk going around that you could just be from anyone else, and or offer them a far lower rate than what you normally would, because it's not worth it in my opinion. And even if there is good cards in there, the time you're going to spend doing all that sorting is just, it's such a waste of time, and I would not recommend doing it. But those are the main three things that I would say for like prevent yourself from being or from buying bad bulk if you're trying to make money from it. And tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow, I'm going to make a video about how to find good bulk, because this is like how to prevent yourself from buying bad bulk, and tomorrow is going to be how to find the good bulk, who to look for, and like who to buy from, because I think that is also very important. And the difference between like a bad bulk lot and a good bulk lot is, in terms of percentages, probably like thousands of percentage difference in terms of profit. So it's very important to find good bulk that you can make high returns from, because if you buy a card for a penny and it's worth $8, like it's a huge return. And if you can replicate that and do that consistently, it's unmatched, honestly. But that's going to be tomorrow's video. Sorry for missing the video on Friday. I'm still a little sick, but I had a bad sore throat, so I couldn't really talk too much on Friday, so I didn't post the video. And also, just another update, the Marketplace app is coming along pretty well. I've just finished like the onboarding process and making sure that people need to put in their, like, this is not even my it's Stripe's requirement, which is that they need to put in their social security to be a seller. So that's going to help a lot of people from dealing with scams and spamming, or like accounts and all that, because you need to have a social security, which I think is going to be very helpful. And it'll prevent a lot of people from being scammed on buying collections online, which is going to be huge. I'm going to post more videos on it, like short form videos on how the app is looking, and then take more feedback. A lot of you guys have shared feedback already, which is pretty great. And I didn't even think about some of these things, but I've already implemented some of them. And TCG Automate is going well again, like as always, but still major improvements happening to the app. So thank you all for your support. And I'm going to have a big video coming soon on like updates and what's going on moving forward. So stay tuned for that. This week is going to be a really good week for new things happening. So thank you all again, and I hope you all have a great week.